I'm Erin Murphy, Tabitha from Bewitched, with the real Jimmy Deal.
Hey, Elaine, Ballace, how are you? Great to have you on the show. What's going on?
I am great, and Mika came too.
Mika is here.
She even took a bath today and everything, so she'd look nice and clean and pretty.
Oh, so awesome. She looks fantastic.
And she's having a good hair day. Are you having a good hair day? Wait, there we go.
Yeah, she got big from the last time I saw her. Well, last time she was on the show.
I know, that happens. I don't know. You know, it's so funny because when I first got her, she was like the size of the palm of my hand. I can't believe how much she's grown. And then all of a sudden one day, I mean, she looked like a little rat at first, a little white rat.
Right.
And then one day I go, oh my goodness, she looks like a real dog. So now she's a big girl, aren't you?
Absolutely. She's beautiful.
Yeah, she's a big girl. Wait, let's see. There we go. Okay.
Wow. Gorgeous. Love her. I know
beautiful?
you've been busy. You've been busy, Elaine, right? I mean, you're working on so much stuff.
It's so funny. Last year, the strike really affected everybody. Well, actually, there were two strikes, the writers and the actors.
Right.
And it was so slow. And it was like, will I ever work again? And then all of a sudden, last week, I think they knew I was coming on your show. I was postponing a lot of podcasts because it was like, well, I don't really have that much new to talk about. But now I've got all kinds of new things to talk about. So I'm really excited. I did a movie, and it's called Cocaine Over. And it's about a mother trying to get her son to, get off the couch and do something with his life. Okay. And so that was really fun. That was this week. And then you've got a music video that I did this week, and Mika, she was in it too. Awesome. And so that was so much fun. It started the week off great. I did that first, and then I did the movie, and now here I am. So it's been a wonderful week.
Oh, great. I mean, I love the music video. In fact, I had it up on my Facebook page. Got so many great reviews on it. Everyone loved the video. So we're going to do something now that I never done on Celebrity Spotlight before. So we're going to try to play that video, but I'm going to try to play it on camera. So we're going to see if it comes off okay. So we're going to hit it so everybody can see it. And let's see if you can hear it. Let's see.
What? Tell me when! Look at all the cars! Help! How do I cross the road?
I'll help you cross the road, man.
You're saving me.
You ready?
I'm ready. Let's go!
She got that bag out of soap.
Almost there. Almost there. I think we're there.
Okay.
Oh, young man. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
No problem.
Oh. Thank you. Here, you want to come with us?
Let's go.
Okay, you come with us. You were so nice. Thank you.
She got that bag out to show me herself.
Oh, that was so great. I loved it.
It was so much fun. And I must tell you, that's one of the busiest intersections. It's in Studio City, and it's one of the busiest intersections anywhere. So it was great. People, and the thing that was so much fun was there was actually a real couple that came by and said, we'll help you. We'll help you. We'll help you. It's okay. Just walk over here and we'll get it. So it was believable. So that just made me happy. I love doing stuff like that. And one time I remember I was playing a homeless person, and they had cleared out, the studio had cleared out all the people around there, and they had security and stuff like that. But a few people still got through. So I wanted to test it to see, if they really believed that, I was a homeless person. So, I asked for money and all this stuff, and people gave it to me. So I said, yep, got it down. To give it back because the studio said, you can't keep that. And I was thinking, more than I'm probably making.
I mean, you
Yeah,
enjoy doing those videos, though,
it's
and it's not
fun.
the first time. You enjoy them so much. I mean, you love doing videos.
I love working, I mean, I love working and I love playing all kinds of characters. I mean, really like broad characters. And so that's what makes it so much fun,
Mhm.
and then I like to test it out to see, if it really works, if people are buying it. And so far, I'm at least 2 for 2 that I know of.
Right. I know
So that's
Prince
really good.
Prince Easton is watching the show. He wants to say hello. I know he's a
Hi,
friend of yours.
Prince. I worked with him on a web series. And so that was really fun. Room for Rent, it was called. And the woman, unfortunately, has passed who was doing the web series, but I got to meet great people like Prince
Yeah, he said that was like
Easton.
12 years ago. He just told me.
Oh, was it that long already? Time just flies by.
Time flies when you're having fun in this business. That's for sure. You started your career, Elaine, very, very early on, right? It was you at 8 years old.
I,
You
I
were ice
started
skating.
at 8. Actually, I started because I was a professional ice skater.
Hmm.
And I was just very young, and of course, I didn't really make any of the choices. But my parents, they weren't really that happy about the whole competitive scene, and it was very different back then. You
Right.
couldn't do anything, and so I had the opportunity to do commercials and shows and stuff like that. And so my parents thought, oh, well, that'll be fun. And she's home and, the family will stick together. So that's basically what I did. And I just loved it. I love doing shows and having fun and making people laugh,
Right.
and just even if they just smile. Like I was doing a show once in Palm Desert, and
Mhm.
it had very low ceilings, and we were skating on plastic. There was a big rage when everyone was skating on plastic doing small shows, and it was so funny. We had big hats, and I skated by, and my hat kind of hit the thing, and everyone thought that I was the comic relief in the show, and
Right.
the thing that you never really should do is put soloists in production numbers because
Right.
they're always doing a solo,
Right.
and so it was so funny. And so then when I came out and did my solo, everyone just went, oh, she can really skate. So I think they thought like I was a stooge in some of the shows. And Rip Taylor, bless his soul, he came running backstage afterwards going, I want to meet her, I want to meet her, and he just laughed and thought it was the funniest thing. I mean, he loved the solo, but he thought that I was in there for the comic relief each time because every time I was out there, I was doing a solo.
Right.
And so, yeah, I just love working, and, and there used to be a lot more shows. There used to be little, what they called tank shows.
Mhm.
And they even had an ice rink at the Beverly Hilton.
Oh, cool.
And so I did a lot of shows there as a kid, as well, and got to work with people like Milton Berle, which was great. And
Wow.
so, yeah, and I really believe that's where Mel Brooks saw me first,
Wow.
skating at a Friars Club, and because they used to meet there. But now everything is so different. So I'm glad that I did do it when I was really young too, because I can see the difference. And in many ways, I was more protected as a child,
Right.
back then. And my parents were with me all the time. So, that was a really good thing.
And you even did some commercials as well, right? As far as
Yeah, I did a lot of commercials. And ironically, I did 2 commercials with one of the Three Stooges and his grandson.
Mhm.
And it was it was fun because just recently at the Hollywood Museum,
Right.
they had a tribute to the Three Stooges, and
I saw that.
it's been 100 years, and
Wow.
so it was great. And they had some of their family there, so that was really fun too, you know. But
Yeah.
it was so much fun because, I mean, as a kid growing up, of course, you know, the Three Stooges and all the different shows that you would watch. And I watched shows like at different times because I was in school. I went to a private school, and then I would go skating. So a lot of the shows that were on in the afternoon or something I never really saw till I was on vacation. And so that made it really interesting. And the other thing that was so much fun is how I really got started was when I was home on vacation, and you'd watch shows as you're getting ready to go to the rink. And
Mhm.
of course, it was always I Love Lucy. So that's
Wow.
what made me really want to get into show business.
Right. And of course, you mentioned the Hollywood Museum, which was
Oh,
originally the old Max Factor building there, right, in Hollywood. And speaking of Lucy, Lucy used to go there, get her makeup, hair done.
that's how
And
she
so
got
many
her
people.
red hair.
Yeah.
That's where she got her red hair. And I keep looking for some pan stick or, you know, pancake makeup. I think, you know, I keep saying, oh, there must be some here hidden
Right.
somewhere, you
I'm
know, I'm
sure.
gonna look for it. And that place is so wonderful. Danelle Dadigan is so gracious, and
Right.
I mean, it's really her second home, but I think all of us, you know, say, oh, this is our second home too, you know. But she's just a wonderful hostess, and, you know, and has wonderful exhibits. And you just meet all kinds of people and people from old Hollywood. And I think one of everyone's favorite stars is George Chakiris.
Oh, okay.
Everyone loves seeing him, and
Yeah.
West Side Story. And one time I saw him and I said, I'll never forget it. I went, "Boom." Wait, let's see, you know, with my hands, and I lifted my foot about an inch off the ground. He goes, yeah, that's so great. I mean, he's the nicest man in the world and so encouraging.
Right. You're always with so many stars over there. I mean, Stanley Livingston, of course,
Oh,
Rodney
I
Allen
love
Whitney,
Stan.
just on my show, and right. So many of your friends over there all the time.
Rodney Allen Rippey, he goes there. Stanley Livingston. I've met all kinds of people over there. I think you had at the very top of the show, Erin Murphy, didn't
Aaron
you?
Murphy, yes, yes.
Yeah, she goes there a lot too. And Kate Linder, and just Ruta Lee. It's her birthday,
Oh,
so
yes,
a
it is
shout out
Rudy's
to
birthday. I
Ruta.
saw that. And my good old
And
friend Harlan,
she
right? You know Harlan?
Harlan, well,
Yeah.
Harlan's the best, you know.
Yes,
You
Harlan
keep
is the best.
there's Harlan and best of the rest, you know.
Yeah,
But he is wonderful. But it's just, it really is family over there,
it
and
is.
it's so nice. And unfortunately, we lost a lot, you know, from COVID and things that had happened, and so that was very sad.
And
But
of course, Marilyn Monroe used to go there, Betty Davis. I mean, so much history in that building. And
well,
the
yeah,
exhibits
at
are
the building.
beautiful, right? Tell us about those exhibits. I mean, there's so many exhibits in there. There was a Batman one, I know. I don't know if it's still there, but with the
Batman, yeah,
yeah,
the Batman, the Three Stooges, Ghostbusters,
wow,
Catwoman, let's see, who else? I mean, there've just been a lot.
a lot there. Yeah, yeah. So
Back
I
to
mean,
the Future.
Back to the Future. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's every time I go to Hollywood, it's one of the places I always go to visit is the Hollywood Museum. One of my favorite places. Love that place.
And they had one for the Pointer Sisters. They still have a few items there.
Mhm.
And the Pointer Sisters was so great because Bob Mackey's costumes were there, and all their costumes. And oh,
Yeah,
I hope
great
one
stuff.
day they do an exhibit just with Bob Mackey's costumes.
Yeah, of course he did all the Cher's costumes. He did so much work over the years.
Bernadette Peters.
Yeah, yeah,
Who else? He did a lot of them.
yeah.
He's
So
just he's the best. I'll tell you. I met him one day, and he also used to do some of the skaters like Peggy Fleming, and he did one of her shows, and then a show I was in, they bought the costumes,
mhm.
and so I got to wear some of the costumes. And one day there was a very famous restaurant, Spago's, you know, and
Oh, I
we were
remember Sparkles. Yeah, Well, I used to work for
Right.
Robin Leach. Robin Leach used to go there all the time.
Right. Well, we were just walking on Sunset Boulevard. We went to the one on Sunset. I think it's
Mhm.
moved a few times. And so anyway, there were these two gentlemen that were very kind, and they were waving to us and we waved, to them.
Right.
And so this friend of mine said, "Well, let's go in and meet them." And so I said, "Oh, I don't even know if we're going to get in there." And so we did. We got in and we introduced ourselves, and he said his name and she said her name, and then he goes, "Hi, I'm Bob Mackey." And my mouth went, "Oh." Oh my gosh, I would die to have one of your, dresses. And I said, "Maybe when I'm here, you'll make a dress for me."
Right.
So he said, "Absolutely."
Right.
So I went to Hollywood Professional School, and the school had closed. And at the turn of the century, in 2000, we decided to put on a reunion. And so I thought, well, I have to wear something really spectacular, but I don't know what.
Mhm.
So I figured I'll never wear the dress again, probably. So maybe I'll go to Bob Mackey and see if I can rent a dress.
Right. Right.
And I did. And this woman, the gentleman who was in charge of it, he left because every dress I picked was out on rental. So
Mhm.
this girl who was working there said, "There's a dress here you might like." And I said, "Oh, okay, let's look at it. It's worth a shot." So we did. And I said, "Okay, well, let me go try it on." So I go in, and in the studio, in Bob Mackey's studio, they have beautiful lighting, surround mirrors, and everything. So I go in and I try it on, and I go, this gasp. And she goes, "Are you okay? Is everything all right in there?" And I said, "Yes." And I come out, and it was like Cinderella. I had never seen a gown more beautiful than this one.
Wow.
And she did the same thing when I came out. She goes, so she says, "All right, you can, she goes, let me write it up, and you'll take it." And I said, "Okay." So I get a call the next day, "Excuse me, but," and I'm going, "But what? This dress is perfect." And he goes, "That's a $10,000 Bob Mackey original." And
Oh,
I
boy.
was thrown in a box,
Oh my
and
God.
so I said, "Okay, but I still think I should be able to rent it."
Mhm.
And so I said, "Let me bring the director over and at least let me show him the dress." So
Right.
they said, "Okay." So all these people were there, and I'm in the room, and I go, "I'm not going to gasp, I'll just come out." And they all gasped,
Oh
like,
my God.
"Oh my goodness, this is the most gorgeous thing ever." I mean, it was like being Cinderella at the ball. And so he I talked him into, renting it to me, and he did. And
Oh,
he said, "But you have to take it to our cleaners so that, they will clean it." And I said, "Okay, I will." And it was the most beautiful dress, and I felt like Cinderella at the ball. So at least I can say I wore an original Bob
Bob
Mackey.
Mackey. That's so awesome. That's great, Elaine. Love
So
that.
that was just such a great experience. And he is such a nice man and so talented.
Yeah. I just also wanted to mention, because we showed the video, and of course you're
Mhm.
working with a rap artist there, and he might be calling us tonight. So just in
I
case he
told
calls,
him to call. I don't know where
yeah.
he is.
So, but if he does call in, we'll put him on, and we'll talk a little bit about the video and his career. So I'm looking forward to that. You mentioned that you worked with Mel Brooks, of course, 4 movies, Mel Brooks. Tell us a little bit about Mel Brooks working on those movies, and what was it like to work with Mel?
Well, Mel is the greatest person in the world. He's my all-time favorite. And I used to tell him that all the time. I go, "Mel, you're my favorite person in the whole world."
Uh-huh.
And he'd go, "I don't know. It's like an awful lot of pressure. Could I be your second favorite?"
Mhm.
And so I said, "No." So every time I just let him know that he is still my favorite person in the whole wide world. And he has a birthday coming up. He's going to be 98.
Uh-huh.
So, and he's still I mean, he is so together and so with it and everything. He just likes to kind of stay home now and, do all the interviews from home and do other things. And I just said, come on, Mel, you have to do more stuff. And he goes, I don't know, maybe. But I understand. He doesn't want to be around a lot of people because ever since COVID, it's,
Well, he's up there in age and everything. So,
well, even if you're not up there in age, it just seems that so much stuff since COVID has happened and people are afraid to be around a lot of people and everything.
Absolutely.
So I understand.
Yeah. I mean, and tell us about your book. And I know you sent the copy over to Mel. There it is.
How to Write a Book, Camp Elaine Style. And they can get it on my website, which is ElaineBallace.com. And how it started was actually because of COVID. And the people were inside and they were, kind of isolated. And at that point, I realized, at first I started to do it as a gag, but I realized, people really do have a story and everyone is going through a different experience with COVID. And then they started changing history, and tearing down the statues of what went on and everything. And like, that's not going to change history just because you remove a statue,
Exactly.
And if you don't learn from the history, you're going to repeat it. And so, anyway, I decided to write the book, and I actually told Mel all along. I go, I was telling him what I was doing, and I don't think he really got the aha syndrome, which was indicative of many people until they got the book. And then they went, wow, now we get it, the aha syndrome. And what it is, without giving it totally away, but what it is for you to there are 10 chapters, and part of it is also just what it is in history, showing up. As long as you show up, you're like 90% there.
Exactly.
So the first chapter says, I'll share that one. Here, maybe I'll share it. It says, congratulations, you showed up. Now, take out a pen or a pencil or even a crayon and start writing. So the most important thing is showing up and starting. And then I just guide you through the rest of the book until you're at the end. And at the end, it says, congratulations, you did it. Or not, So if you did it, then you have your history, your legacy, how you want people to remember you. I don't even care if it's true or not, just how you want to be remembered as what you've done in life, how your life was, your legacy.
Exactly.
And I'm realizing now that there are so many more people like baby boomers that are really alone. They have no relatives or anything, and people don't know really much about them or what they did or anything. And this is a great way of writing your, let's see, here we go. Writing your legacy.
Yep.
So go to ElaineBallace.com. It'll be personally autographed in the continental US. It's free shipping, and they will have it. And it was so funny because Mel sent me an autographed copy of his book, which is all about me, all about him, not me. And it's like 550 pages. So I sent him an autographed copy of my book. And he called me up and he goes, Elaine, you're crazy, but it's a brilliant idea. It's just such a great idea to have it because people really don't think about it. I mean, there are stories in other people's books, or even if they're famous, there's enough information out there. But what about the people who may not be as famous? So, everyone has a story, and everyone has a legacy. So, this is for them.
Yeah, and of course you had the television show. I love the television show too. We got to bring it back to TV. Tell us about the TV show you had, the
Oh, Camp
Misadventures
Elaine.
of Elaine. Yeah, of Camp
Right,
Elaine.
Misadventures. Well, actually, what it is, it was a web series, and it's everything I've ever wanted to do.
Hmm.
And so, just different things that go on in life and how you would like to react or what you would like to do.
Right.
And it really started off originally like doing sports because that was my passion. I really wanted to be a running back,
You love
and
football.
so I always thought, oh, that would be really fun because I couldn't really catch, but I
Mhm.
figured now running backs do have to catch, but back in the day they didn't really catch. They didn't
Right.
throw to them that much. They just handed off. And so I was doing that, and then I did everything I wanted to do on that
Mhm.
show, interview as many people, do stuff like I did one episode where it was kind of a spoof on Lucy doing the candy. Remember when she kept eating
Sure.
the
Yeah. Yeah.
candy? And I went to a candy factory,
Mhm.
and so they let me do that. And so I've done a lot of really fun things. Now I'm on the Michael Collier morning show on either Mondays or Tuesdays,
Oh,
depending
cool.
if Michael's in town or not doing a show.
Right.
And I'm doing sports with Olden Polynice and Errol Reese.
Nice.
Errol's out of he does sports talk out of North Carolina, and then Olden is everywhere.
Right.
I think he even does some stuff for Fox.
Oh, does it?
And um so I do sports with them, and it's so funny because they'll be betting or they'll be saying stuff to Michael, and Michael will go, okay, I'm betting, or I'm betting the opposite, because they never quite get it right,
Right.
and I've usually been right more than they have, so it's been really a joke.
Yeah.
And so they can watch the Michael Collier morning shows on YouTube or Facebook Live, and then they can, if they miss Facebook Live, they can go to YouTube and watch it there.
Right.
And like I said, it's on Mondays or Tuesdays, so I'm doing that. So that's fun, and so I get to keep my passion in sports. But right now, the big sports are hockey and basketball.
Mhm.
So Olden is really in his element with basketball because he played with, all the different teams.
Right.
And he said he coached hockey when he was in high school or something. I don't know. But I grew up, I skated in between periods, exhibitions for the Sharks. And so that was really fun. And the best part about that is we got to pick somewhere we wanted to go. We got one road trip. So, of course, I picked New York so I could skate at Madison Square Garden.
How
So
cool is
that
that?
was a highlight.
Nice.
That
Did
was
you?
really like the highlight. And it was funny because they asked me, they said, well, what was it like to skate at Madison Square Garden? And being a Cali girl, I said, the best thing in the world. I just loved it. It was like a dream come true because
Yeah.
Madison Square Garden has so much history.
Oh my God. Yes, absolutely. Did you ever get to go to Rockefeller Center during Christmas time and ice skate there?
No. I
There's
was
something
never back
on your
in New
bucket list
York.
you have to do.
That was, I went to Rockefeller Center a couple times,
Mhm.
but it wasn't at Christmas or anything.
Right.
But I mean, my bucket list definitely was Madison Square Garden.
Oh,
So that
okay.
was a check.
So
One
nice. And
check.
I know you also got to work with a good friend of mine and of yours, Shadow Stevens. Tell us about Shadow.
Oh, Shadow was great. He was on The Rich and the Ruthless, which I was
Yeah.
on for 4 seasons.
Hmm.
And he played my love interest. And so but a secret love interest.
Hmm.
So that was really fun. And Shadow's a great guy, and he's married to a wonderful woman, Beverly, and I just adore her. She's so much fun. And so that was really nice. I wish the Rich and the Ruthless were still on. It was one of the most fun shows ever. The cast got along great. Everything was wonderful.
Yeah.
And I was looking, no, I don't have it. But anyway, I I sometimes have a bunch of pictures of the cast, but I don't have them here. And so anyway, that was really great. And then I also did the movie A Wonderful Life, which
Yes.
they can it's still on Amazon Prime. It
Mhm.
was a holiday movie. It
Right.
goes from Halloween to Christmas.
Oh,
And
wow.
it was just a beautiful movie. Jeff London wrote, produced, and directed it, and he's
Nice.
done some wonderful movies and won awards and everything. So
Mhm.
I was happy to be able to work with him. And then I've got a horror movie out called Tim Lee's Dracula, Bride of Horror, which is great because I only do Dracula movies because I
Mhm.
did Dracula Dead and Loving It with Mel Brooks.
Right.
And that was fun. And of course, Leslie Nielsen played Dracula.
Yeah, you like doing Dracula movies.
Yeah, that's it. It's Dracula, and then Tim Lee's Dracula because he's like I believe his idol was Christopher Lee. So
Yeah.
his name is Lee as well. So he goes by Tim Lee's Dracula, Bride of Horror. And they can get that on King of Horror on YouTube.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
So it's all out there.
Yeah, and you also did a lot of the old classic TV shows, some of my favorites, Hawaii Five-0. Tell us about working with Jack Lord and also James MacArthur. I know you had a scene with him in there, right? You flew out to
Right.
Hawaii, right?
Well, James MacArthur is maybe the sweetest man in the world.
I met him. He's a great guy.
So,
Yeah.
he is so nice. And I heard so many things about Jack Lord, but I must say he was very kind and very friendly to me. So I just had great experiences with him. And I
Right.
worked with Jack Klugman,
Yeah,
and people say
Quincy,
the
another
same
great
thing
show.
about him. And he's so funny. He's
Yeah.
really funny. And so I enjoyed that. And uh, also on a Welcome Back, Cotter.
Right.
And you got to meet Larry Hilton Jacobs,
I did
right?
get to meet him just recently, Freddie Boom Boom Washington, Mr. Cocktail.
Yeah, he is so talented and so great. I loved him. He's just really, really dear. Rodney, as a matter of fact, was on my show, The Misadventures of Camp Elaine.
Oh, was he really? Rodney's a great guy.
And he's in the book because he's a dear, dear friend. And so there he is.
Oh, he's so great. Rodney
there's
Allen.
yeah. And that was Oreo, my other dog who passed.
Yes, I remember.
And so anyway, it was really cute because Oreo had, we could say, oh, this is my child, our child, because he had a black face and a white body. So he covered both of us.
So awesome. So you worked with so many great people in Hollywood. I mean, and you continue to meet so many people. Anybody you haven't worked with that you would like to work with?
I think the one person I would love to meet is Mick Jagger.
Really? He just did a concert here, from what I understand, at the MetLife
really?
Stadium here in New Jersey. I think he's like 80 years old, and I heard he looks like he's 50 and runs around like he's 50, which is amazing. Amazing.
Well, I met Keith Richards, and Keith Richards is the nicest guy. I was amazed at how wonderful he really is.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be a fan for life. And my first music video was actually with Gaga.
Oh,
and
really?
She's terrific. She
seems like she is. I never met her, but she seems like
she's so bright and so talented. And I was just so blessed to have worked with her. I mean, really early on in her career, and she's really, gone on to do wonderful things.
Right.
So I like her a lot. And I worked with the Goo Goo Dolls and also Foo Fighters.
Wow.
And I was really, so, a lot of really good rock people.
Yeah, I mean, you're also friends with Anson Williams from Happy Days. I know. I mean, he did my show. He's been on the show, and of course, he's a good friend of yours.
Anson's great, and he just got a year ago he got married, and he and his new wife she wrote a play, and it's really kind of autobiographical. And they were in New York. They were in the area where Woodstock was.
Mm-hmm.
and they're hoping to take it to Broadway. They're going to premiere it in LA and then hopefully get it to Broadway. But it opened in the Woodstock area.
Oh, cool. That sounds
So
so
that
great.
was great. Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought they did a read through out here, and I saw it, and it was wonderful. And the actress is Lee Purcell, who's doing it.
Oh, wow.
And
You know,
so I think a lot of people know who she is.
yeah, I saw on your Facebook page. I know you did something with Tony O because I saw his picture with you on your Facebook page. You know, Frank Sinatra's right-hand man.
Tony O. Let
Yeah.
me see.
Yeah, somewhere on your
Um,
Facebook page, I ran into that picture, and I said, you know, I know I met Tony O when he was working with Don Rickles, and
I did meet who was the other one that was with Frank Sinatra, because I did do a show down in Palm Springs,
yeah, that's
a
probably
singing show.
yeah, I'm sure that's
Uh,
probably where it was. Yeah, Tony was one of
Billy Russo.
oh, Philly Russo. Okay, cool. Yeah, but I thought I saw a picture with Tony O on there, but I know Tony O is a great guy because I met him a bunch of times with Don Rickles, and you know
Oh, wait, no, I know where I met him. I met him at Verbato
oh,
in
okay,
um in it's kind of the Beverly Glen area,
yeah,
and I went to a concert there, and he was there, and I
oh,
told him, I said, listen, I said, I know Frank Sinatra's not around anymore, and nor is Don Rickles, but I could do both parts. I could sing badly, and you could represent me. That's where you saw him. Yeah.
yeah, great picture of you and Tony O. I love that. Also, you go to so many different events. I mean, I see you were at the Culver City Car Show, right? The Batmobile was
Oh,
there.
that was so much fun. It was George Barris and that one, Ed Losey. Do you know Ed Losey? He's a publicist, and
Yeah.
he used to handle all of George Barris's cars.
Oh,
And
okay.
so anytime they're at anything, he's there. And so he invited me, and Shadow was supposed to go, but he didn't show up. He didn't make it.
Yeah, Shadow's a
So
busy.
he's always busy. Every
Yes,
time
he
I
is.
call him to invite him to something, he goes, "Oh, thank you for calling to invite us." But
Another good a movie that you worked on, Love Without Hairs. Tell us about Love Without Hairs.
that was very interesting, because it was originally a play, and they did it as a movie, and I played a low class hooker,
Yeah.
and my John, and it was a lot of dialogue.
Oh, was it
Because
really? Oh,
we were
wow.
the only two on screen for like 87 minutes or something, 87 or 93 minutes, one or the other.
Wow.
And so that one was really a lot of work. And I'm sorry that the director didn't really promote it more.
Mm.
It was a really good movie, and it was really interesting. It was a dark comedy, and I felt that it should have gotten more promotion,
Right.
and been released. He was going to, but then I don't know what happened. He only wanted it to go to certain film festivals,
Mhm.
and then he put it on Amazon Prime, but not very long.
Right.
And so I don't know really what happened to it, but it was a lot of work, and I'm very proud of the movie.
Yeah, I mean, so many people here online want to say hello to you. Tom Payton, he's a friend of mine, and he watches the show all the time. He wants to say hi, Elaine. So Tom says
Hi,
hello.
Tom.
Also, we have Carl Limbo. He's a good friend of mine too. He used to be a one of the security guys at Westbury Music Fair here. That he hosted a lot of the stars. He would guard a lot of the stars there. So he's watching. He wants to say hello to you, and of course Prince Easton is out there. My brother John Deal, he's out there. Thank you, John, for watching. She wants to say hello to Elaine.
Oh, thank you, John.
So many people. You have so many fans out there, Elaine, and so many
Oh, that's
people.
good. I like fans.
Absolutely,
I like
absolutely.
fans.
So when you started your career, but when you went to school, actually, you went to USC, right? I mean, that's school
I
you went
did
to.
go to USC. I joke about that because I was born at a hospital called Queen of Angels,
Mhm.
and it's no longer around. But I did do a pilot called Flatbush Bungos, and the director said, "Okay, Elaine, you were born in one of these two rooms."
Right.
And I must say, one of the rooms did feel distinctly different. And so I assumed that's where I was born, and it was like, this is probably where it all started. And people say to me, "When did you know that you wanted to be in show business?" I said, "At birth." So I think that's absolutely true because when I was in the room, I could feel something different. So it must have been that room, And the hospital closed. Then I went to Hollywood Professional School.
Right.
It's closed. And then I joke, I went to USC and I said, and their football program's not that great anymore, And I don't know what's going to happen this year when they're going into, I guess, the Big 12 or something, but
Right.
they're more like the Big 20, I think, because so many are leaving the Pac 12 to go into the Big 12. And I don't know. It's all, unfortunately, it seems that all sports now, it's become so political and so much about money. And
Right.
at least college football used to be about spirit and, being with your school or something like that. And
Mhm.
I always wanted to be a running back growing up. I just always thought it was so cool. And that's why I chose USC. They had a really good football program at the time, So
Yeah.
I thought, maybe I could get on as a walk on, but
So
didn't happen.
you were in show business most of your life. I mean, being an actress, being an ice skater, but you also worked for a short time as a therapist, right? Let's go back to that. How was that? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, that was scary.
There you go.
Actually, it was, I worked when I was in college in undergrad, I kind of worked as far as getting the programs so that you could work with patients.
Mhm.
And it was an undergrad program that we had started because you could go 4 years of college of undergrad and then you could get into a grad school and then you realize, you know what? I can't deal with this. The patients are very different. And that's kind of what I learned. I learned that when you're dealing with hardcore psychotics,
Yeah.
it was very difficult to be a young female because they looked at me kind of as, oh, well, she's so young or she's weak or whatever. I mean, academically, I knew what was wrong, but academically isn't what they need. All of them, I mean, they need the experience, they need whatever personality is best suited for them.
Mhm.
And the other thing that I really learned was that a lot of people go, oh, they're crazy or they're mentally ill or challenged or whatever the word is. Um, but it doesn't mean that they're not bright
Yeah.
because many of them are very, very bright. And it's just a matter of they can't cope in the real world. I mean, something could have happened to them
Right.
or whatever, but it's very difficult for them to cope. And there are many forms of mental illness,
Right.
So that was really hard. And then I also even worked as a guidance counselor for a
Right.
little while. And that was, even though the kids were younger than I was, it was still very hard for them to understand. It was like I'd say, don't go this weekend and get stoned all the time. Maybe read a book or do something else, but they didn't want to hear it,
No.
And then later on they think, "Oh, you were right," because I've run into a couple of them and they would say, "Oh, you were right. I should have done this or I should have done that."
Right.
But it's very difficult. And then I just realized, you know what? let them do what they're going to do. I don't think academically, I knew what they should do. As a matter of fact, one of the people that was a former student called me today and he goes, "You're always spot on," because we're still friends years
Right.
later. And he goes, "You've always been spot on, but I guess sometimes I just wasn't, able to, process it and accept it."
Right. How
So,
do you stay so positive, Elaine? You're always so positive and happy. I love that. How do you stay like that?
Mika,
Mika, there you go.
my
That works.
dogs, Oreo prior to her, Mika, and and now also Michael Collier, because he really says that you just have to, you have to just keep going, and you have to be, you have to just keep going and doing, and eventually, it gets very frustrating because you want to do more. Or if you see something wrong, you want to help the people and here,
Right.
let me fix it for you, and sometimes you just can't fix it. The thing that I did learn from, doing therapy was that they have to want it. It's kind of like in my book when I say, first you have to show up.
Right.
And that's kind of the thing. You have to show up, you have to be present, and you have to want to do it.
You have to want to
And
get
like
better.
what?
You have to want to get better, of course, and improve your life.
Yeah, you have to, because otherwise it's not going to do you any good.
Of course. Of course.
And
Also
they
one
just, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, one of the shows I wanted to ask you about that you did that I did not ask you about already was 8 is Enough. Vic Dan Pat, Vic,
Dick
Mr.
Van
Van
Patten.
Patten. Yeah, tell us
Easy
about
for you to
working with
say.
them.
Actually, I worked with him in that and Robin Hood Men in Tights.
All right.
And just a lovely man, really lovely. He was so kind and so generous, and it was so much fun. So, it's funny because the guy who was the casting director
Mhm.
on Robin Hood Men in Tights was a very good friend of Dick Van Patten's.
Oh, was
And I
he?
happened to be a very good friend of his daughter's. And we became good friends on Dracula Dead and Loving It.
Nice.
And we've been friends ever since. So it kind of is a full circle. And she's still friends with the Van Pattens. So,
Oh, really? Yeah. Dick was such a great guy. He always seemed like he was always, full of fun and full of energy, and it looked like he was a great guy to work with. Dick Van Patten.
yeah, he was great. Yeah, Eight is Enough was really fun.
Mhm.
I'm surprised that they really haven't done anything like that at the museum. They've done Walton's Little House on the Prairie. I mean,
One of my
those are,
favorite. Love the Waltons. Love the Waltons.
yeah, they've done different things like that there, but they've never done an Eight is Enough. I don't know why.
So I think you have to talk to them, Elaine, and get that going.
Well, I'm not even sure which ones are still around from
Yeah,
that
probably the
show.
kids. I'm sure some of the kids are, right? I'm sure some of the girls are, maybe. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, because well, Betty Buckley was on the show for a while, and she's a big Broadway star now.
Yes,
So,
yeah, I know. I speak with her sometimes. She's a friend of mine on Facebook. But yeah, she was on that.
okay.
So yeah, that was a great show. I used to love watching. I think it was like every Thursday night here in New York. It was 8 is Enough. Great show.
That was on, I'm trying to think. It was on around the same time of Cotter, and I think they were even on the same network, but I'm
Mhm.
not 100% sure about that.
Yeah. So do you have any advice for any actresses starting out today? I know the business has changed so much through the years from when you first
It has
started to now.
changed so much,
Crazy.
and
I know.
um, the older actors, I don't think it's definitely changed for the better, because now they have everything selfie,
Mm,
and if you're not technically savvy, then you're in big trouble.
right.
But kids today, young people today, are very tech savvy, I think. I found that to be true. And they're very tech savvy, and they like that. I personally prefer being in the room.
Right.
I want to be in the room. I want to get the corrections. I didn't sign up to be, a DP or, all the techie stuff. I don't really have a blank wall, and I
Mhm.
don't know lighting that well or anything. But these kids today are very tech savvy. So they've got, they're up on it and they understand it. And
Mhm.
I I miss being in the room. I miss the corrections, if they want corrections, I miss
Right.
that. I miss the feedback
Yeah.
because you don't even know if they're looking at your thing because I know one time I sent it through WeTransfer
Mhm.
and WeTransfer sends you a notice, once it's been opened
Right.
and it was never opened and you're spending all that time. So I don't think you're really saving anything because you're still doing the hair, the makeup, the wardrobe and everything.
Right.
And then you're trying to light it, and then if you don't have anyone to read with you, that becomes a problem. So then you've got to go somewhere where you pay someone to read with you, and it's like it's just too much money to start off. Like I
Right.
said, the young kids probably know, and if you have a 3-year-old around, better yet. But I miss the old days of going on the interview knowing, because you can pretty much tell if you did a good job or if they liked you or didn't like you. So you don't go, are they going to call? Are they going to call? Did I get it?
Right.
So I really miss that. So anybody out there, producers, directors, casting people, please, we want to come back. We want to come back.
Yeah.
Back.
Yeah, I mean the business has changed so much over the years, and of course, you have to have develop a thick skin, right, in this business, right, Elaine?
You
Yeah, they're
well,
really be tough.
yeah. What you like? There have been so many motivational speakers who say, what you think of me doesn't matter, but it does. I
It
mean,
does, yeah.
I think everybody goes through the Sally Field syndrome of you like me, you really like me.
Mhm.
And so I think I've got this hair from my bangs in my eyes, and it keeps itching my nose. And so anyway, it you go through that, and if you don't work for a while, like, there was COVID and then the strikes and everything, and you just become so disheartened that you have to figure something else out to do. And the good thing, I will say for technology, the good thing was during that time, a lot of people did start doing podcasts. And the good thing about that is you get to, like, I'm in LA and you're in New York, so you get to meet new people, you get to work with people that you may never have worked with.
Mhm.
And I think that's the good side, of how it's changed. And also now people with, their phones are doing projects. And I think, you don't have to worry as much about getting all the money. They do have GoFundMe's and stuff like that. So that is so different. And
Yeah.
I think in many ways it's opened it up to more people.
Mhm.
But by the same token, because it's so open now, I think fewer people are making it as big as they once did.
Yeah, yeah. It seems like
But
it was easier back in the day. I mean, I don't know if that's true or not, but it does seem that way. I don't know.
well, there was less competition.
Yeah, yeah.
And so but on the flip side, you can at least do what you want to do and what you love. If you
Right.
really want to do a show or something like that, some people will figure out ways with phones or whatever to do the show, or through StreamYard or Zoom or any of those platforms. And then there are more ways. You're not going to make the money that you did at one time through
Mhm.
network, but the streaming platforms to get your product out there.
Right.
And so at least you can say, hey, I did a show and it was on. And so that makes it a little bit easier and more positive for a lot of people.
Right.
But for a lot of people, they still, who remember the old days, still want to be, you know, in a feature film, in a movie theater, or on network television, or, even a network platform like a Netflix, you
Right.
know, or Apple or one of those that, you know, is a good platform.
Right.
So it's, you know, it's hard. I think it's hard for a lot of people, and it seems to many that they use the same 5 people all, you know, in everything.
Right.
And there is a lot of talent out there. And so I think people have to look at a lot of different platforms and say, you know what? There really is a lot of talent, and there are some new people out there, and, you know, give them a chance. I think
Absolutely.
it's all about, you know, giving other people chances.
Right.
But I think everyone's so afraid right now. You know, it's like, oh, they're going to take my job. But, you know, if it's your job, it's your job. No one can take it away from you.
Absolutely. Tell us one more time how to get your book.
Okay. Go to my website, Elaine Ballace. Let's see, where are we? There we are.
There you go.
ElaineBallace.com. How to write a book, Camp Elaine style, and
Mhm.
you will love it. You will not regret it when you see it in person and you start to write it. It will be very encouraging, therapeutic. It'll be everything. And you will leave your legacy how you either wanted your life or you want people to believe your life was. And
Exactly.
and for kids, I mean, I originally thought it would be for older people, but
Right.
for kids, I think it's for them to dream. You know, like I guess at 8 or 10, I already knew that I wanted to be in show business, and there was nothing else I wanted to do. It didn't matter. I mean, I wanted to experience different things, but my life had to be in show business. And I think for kids, it's like, dream, you know, because get off the internet as far as playing all the computer games, but dream. You know,
Right.
maybe you want to be the character that was in the games, and write out how you want your life to be, how you see yourself in maybe 5 or 10 years.
Yeah. When you started out, Elaine, did you have a plan B, or did you, took that shot and said, this is it. I'm going to do
You
it.
know, um, you don't really have a plan B, but you do whatever you have to do to fill in. You know, I never believed that I wanted to stay at other jobs that I had, you know,
Right.
but they were also like in modeling, different forms of modeling. I was in the garment industry as a fit model, so I got to learn a lot about fit and costumes and style and dress,
Right.
fabrics. So that was great. And then you know, then you sometimes go into stores and you're like a brand ambassador for different products, and worked with fragrance and launched different fragrances in the stores. And so there were always things that I was doing, and some stuff that was just temporary, and I knew it was going to be temporary because
Mhm.
if I got an acting job, bye bye.
Yeah.
You know.
There you
And
go.
even even through skating though, I taught skating for a while, and it was very frustrating in that I know how expensive that sport is and how difficult, and how it's so unforgiving, because if you quit for a while and you go away, coming back is the hardest thing in the world. And I used to, you know, try and instill in the kids, you're here to practice, you're here to skate, you're here to learn. If you
Right.
want to play, go to a playground. It's free, you know. Rinks, the ice time is very expensive, you know, and they didn't even work as hard as, you know, I worked, or they didn't want it as badly. They just wanted to do all the tricks without learning to skate, you know. And I see it now, and I talk to some of my old time skating friends, and they go, I can't even watch it now. I mean, they're doing, you know, triples and quads, but the quality isn't there, you know, because we grew up learning figures. So you had to learn the edges, you had to learn the proper turns, you had to do
Mhm.
all the stuff properly. And it's just a whole different sport.
Yeah.
Life just keeps changing. And not, like I say, it's not always for the better.
Yes, I know. Absolutely. It's always so much fun talking with you. And I want to thank you so much for coming on the show once again. And you're always welcome to come back whenever you like. And
Oh, I'll come
you're
back
always
all
busy.
the time, and Mika too. Come on,
And
Mika,
Mika
say
too.
hi
Mika,
to everybody.
Mika's
Say
always welcome here as
where's
well.
the
Yeah, I love
camera?
Mika. She got so
Where's the
big from the
camera,
last
Mika?
time she was
There
here.
you go.
Wow, look how big she got.
I
Amazing.
know. Can you believe it?
So beautiful. Love
She
Mika.
is. She's a pretty girl, aren't you? Aren't you a pretty girl? And she's a star. And she does the Michael Collier morning show with
Oh,
me
does she
every time
really?
I
Oh,
do it.
cool.
Yeah. She's
Nice.
always on. They always introduce Elaine and Mika. Oh, yeah.
Nice.
I just have to get her in the right spot
Well,
there.
I can't wait to come back to the Hollywood Museum and check out the
Oh,
Hollywood Museum again and hang out with you.
Please, y'all have to come and hang out, and you have to come to the museum, and we'll all get together.
We'll get
Stanley,
together. It'll be a
Rodney,
good time in
everybody.
Hollywood. That'll be great. and we don't forget Mika. We'll bring Mika for sure.
Well, I can't bring her to the museum. They made that very clear because
Really? They won't let Mika in the museum? Uh-oh.
they won't let her in the museum. They made that very clear. But other than that, everywhere else.
Very cool. Well, thank you, Elaine. I really appreciate you coming on the show. You're awesome.
Thank
You're an
you.
inspiration to everybody, and you're always so much fun to talk with.
Oh, thank you. And Mika thanks you. Say thank you, Mika.
Thank you, Mika. Mika, have a great night. So many people, wrote in, wanted to say hello to you, and you have so many fans out there. Elaine, tell us how the fans can keep in touch with you.
Well, they could go to my website, ElaineBallace.com. They can find me anywhere on social media at ElaineBallace.com. The best place really is Facebook or Instagram. And please follow me on Instagram. I love seeing, you have a new follower.
You know what? Before I let you go, my producer Cindy just said, have Elaine do a lineup for the show. So yeah, can you just say, hey, this is Elaine Ballace, and you're listening to Jimmy Deal on Celebrity Spotlight.
Okay. Are we ready?
You're ready. I'll count you down. 3, 2, 1.
Hi, this is Elaine Ballace, and you're listening to Jimmy Deal on Celebrity Spotlight.
You're such a professional. Thank you so much, Elaine. I appreciate it so much.
Thank you. I had so much fun, and so did Mika.
Well, I had so much fun too. I always have fun talking. Every time we have conversations, we always have so much fun. We should broadcast all our conversations.
All of them. And I'll give a shout out to Steve Gutenberg that I did the movie Looking Up.
Yeah, you're headed to go see Steve Gutenberg right now, right?
I'm going to see him. He just wrote a book, and it was inspired by his dad. He gave up his career for a little while to go take care of his dad. He was a caregiver, and I know what that's like because I did it for my mom and a little bit for my dad, but mainly for my mom. And I just hats off to him. Yeah, that's really a good person, and it does take a lot out of your life. And when you see your parents in a situation where they've always been very strong, and oftentimes the parent really kind of resents that, you're there taking care of them because they don't want that. They don't want you to see them where they're on the decline. So it's very, very hard, but anyone who does it, hats off to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know what? Hang with me. I'm just going to wrap up the show, and then we'll talk right after the show. So just stay right where you are.
Absolutely.
Monday, Celebrity Spotlight. Join me again. Roy Hamilton Jr. is going to be here. Of course, he's the son of the legendary Roy Hamilton with great songs like You'll Never Walk Alone and also Unchained Melody, all those great songs. So Roy will be here. Of course, Elvis Presley was a big fan of Roy Hamilton, and so we'll talk about that. And Roy Hamilton Jr. has some shows going on in Las Vegas right now, so we'll talk to Roy Hamilton Jr. about that. So many more people, too, on the way here on Celebrity Spotlight. The world's leading John Denver tribute artist, a good friend of mine, Ted Vigil. He's got a show coming up in Long Island in July. He'll be here. The CEO of Hollywood's Game Changer 3R Entertainment. His name is Carrie Calvin. He's got a clothesline. He's got so much stuff going on out there in Hollywood, Elaine. He produces music, all types of stuff. So I'm looking forward to having Carrie Calvin. His father was one of the Shylights, so he's going to be here on the show. Looking forward to that. Love the Shylights. Actor Dean Butler from Little House on the Prairie is going to be here. So I'm looking forward to that. Sandy Hall, who is a heart tribute artist, she's going to be on the show. And also my good friend, country artist Lee Newton's coming back to the show for the third time. Love talking to Lee. She's doing so well out there in Nashville. She's becoming a tremendous star. So I'm looking forward to talking with Lee Newton. And also, I just want to thank Cindy, the producer, for all the her work tonight, and all these people that wanted to say hello. Carl Limbo, thank you so much. John Wagner was out there. He wants to say hello to everybody. He wanted to say hello to you, Elaine, too, as well. Who else? Beryl up there in Virginia. Thank you, Beryl. I appreciate it. I really appreciate you listening. Maritine, I hope I'm saying that right. Maritine Paola, okay, wants to say hello. Actually, I know her. She's from the neighborhood. I've met her a couple times. Thank you so much for listening. Tom Payton, of course, is always out there. Also, who else do we have?
What about John Terluzzi?
John Talizzi, we have to say hello to John. Of course, you've been on his show, right? And of course, he does shows at other radio stations as well. And John is a great guy. My friend Stephen Testa, he was listening last week as well. And I told him I'd say hello to him this week. He's out there in Florida. We have Tricia in Sun City, Florida. Cindy Lake, Ronkonkoma. So many people that listen to the show every week. Thank you so much. And please join me Monday again for Roy Hamilton Jr. That's going to be a great show. And we'll find out all about Roy Hamilton, his dad, and his shows in Las Vegas. Thanks again, Elaine Ballace, a legend on the show.
Thank you for having me. And I hope everyone orders the book. And if you don't order a book, you can at least write to me on Facebook or Instagram or on my website.
Absolutely. And I also want to say a quick happy birthday to Winona Judd. It's her birthday today. I've met her several times over the years. Thank you. So for all the great music, Winona, keep it up. Happy birthday. And again, everybody have a great weekend, and we'll catch you Monday with Roy Hamilton Jr. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.